Welcome to Muskegon Rising, a community service project of the Muskegon Rotary Club. Our purpose is to create lasting positive change. We've been doing that here since 1916. So, let's get started.
Good morning. I'm Gabrielle Gerlach, CEO of the Muskegon YMCA, and I have a great guest with us today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Matthew Cortez, Superintendent of Muskegon Public Schools.
That's great. How long have you been superintendent here, Matt?
Actually, this August will mark my 5th-year anniversary.
Oh, that's exciting. We're lucky to have had you here all these years.
Well, the first year was a little rough because they came in August of 19 and then COVID hit in March of 20. So.
I didn't connect those dots that was your first, what an introduction to
you learn people
area.
Real quick.
Yeah, you did. Well, we're lucky for your leadership during
Well, I'm lucky
some
to
of
have
that
great
time.
teams. So.
Well, really excited to have you here today. Want to highlight a lot of what's going on in Muskegon Public Schools, Big Reds.
How many hours
Big
do you
fans.
have?
Yeah, right. Lots of time. Lots of fans out there. And so I was just hoping that we could talk about some of the things that are going on now that, how we're helping our kids and building the future of Muskegon County. So I thought we'd start with, the Muskegon Public Schools is the 4th district in Michigan to implement the Ford NGL program. Can you explain what this transformation entails and what it means for our students and community?
So the transformation's around not the education that we're giving our students per se, because they're going to still get the state-required education, but it's making student voice and student choice the central part. It is a realignment from PK all the way through 12th grade. In the high school, we will actually have what we call career academies. So inside those career academies will be specific pathways for students. And this is aimed at bringing our community back into the schools. Right now, we've already talked with 70-some businesses, and Chauncey Williams is making those partnerships for us.
He's busy.
He is. And so what we really would like to do with the students is give them an experience in the field that they want to go into. Actually give them an externship. So when they come into the 9th grade, they're going to be in the freshman academy. In that, they're going to have a job fair experience called the Future of You. And then at the end of the 9th grade, they are going to say which academy they want to go to. So then our plan is to give them 3 unique experiences, one in 10th, one in 11th, and one in 12th. And there's a couple ultimate goals. And the ultimate goal is that they're in some type of internship their 12th grade year. So they're only having to come to school half time. The other half of the time, they're with a local business, making a better relationship and learning more about our community. Then at the end, every student that crosses the stage is going to get a diploma and something else. That something else could be Microsoft Office certification. It could be ISO 9000. It could be CPR first aid. It's whatever we're able to do for that student in the field that they showed the interest in. And then every one of our graduates will know where they're going Monday morning. And that is not a small feat.
No.
You're talking everybody knows exactly where they're going on Monday morning. And we chose this because we have seen it in action. I've been to 2 different districts that I've witnessed it in. One's in Michigan at Centerline Schools. Okay. The other one's the academies in Nashville. And Nashville have been doing it for 20 years. One of the things that intrigued me is when I took my job here 5 years ago, everything was at the whim of the leader.
Okay.
And we have to stop that, right? Because that's what hurts us. Because when leadership changes, then all of the work that's done is like reset. And then, okay, so what's the next bright, shiny thing you're going to pull in? And so in Nashville, I think it was in the last 9 years, they had 7 different superintendents.
Ooh, okay.
And they didn't skip a beat.
And that benefits the kids.
The structure lives on its own. And it's not the whim of 1 or 2 people. Therefore, it's serving students instead of serving adults or serving egos and things of that nature. So it is a very large shift. It's a huge commitment.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that toward the end of my career now, I probably got maybe 5-6 years left. If I can get this in place, then I think that we're setting ourselves up as an entire county. And I think eventually the entire county is going to start going this way. Yeah. Because they're going to see the student voice and the student choice, and it's going to improve attendance. It's going to help our teachers. It's going to join us back as a core pillar of our community.
Absolutely.
So it's huge.
I love the cohesion too, that you're really connecting our businesses and that with the youth, right? So they're having those
Correct.
experiential education experiences, which we know are so important. Kids learn differently, right?
Right.
And so providing them with that opportunity, and it's also a way to try to keep kids, in this Muskegon area, or to bring them back and to invest those talents here where we live and, where they grew up. So it's really, we're one of the community partners that's,
Yes, you are. You're one of our convening partners, I think.
We are. And so I'm just so excited to see that investment, in youth. To me, it's so some of our pillars, right? Social responsibility is one of them. And I think this really aligns with that. Like, how are we developing our next generation? So that way they're going to be good stewards of our resources and live thriving lives here in Muskegon where we need them to, or, wherever they go off to. But
well, and they're going to find success, right?
Yeah.
If they go to college, if they go into the military, whatever they choose, a trade, they can choose to be an entrepreneur. But getting them those connections in our community is only going to serve them into the future.
Absolutely. I just think it's really exciting. Such a big deal.
It is.
So I'm going to go on to kind of a different track then. So
Okay.
You recently introduced the state's first accredited career technical course in geometry and construction. What inspired this unique program? And how does it integrate traditional academics into practical skills? Because I think this is kind of aligned with some of this.
This is
the
kind
move
of
you're
like
making.
what has led us down that path. MCEC, our alternative school, is also the one that really piloted a lot of this for us. But geometry and construction was the birth idea of trying to get a way where students learn math and actually apply it.
Okay.
I was a former math teacher. I'm also a former history teacher. And all of my students used to say, like, where am I going to use this in my life? And telling them it versus illustrating it to them and having them actually build the meaning. That was the point of geometry and construction.
Okay.
Sad to say, previously, we have doubled the amount of success of students in geometry.
Wow.
So twice as many students are passing the course as
Oh my
were before
gosh.
geometry and construction.
That's amazing.
It is. It just shows that the road that we're headed down with Ford Next Generation Learning and creating the academy model is the road that all of our students can find success in. Because everybody that constructs something in some way, shape, or form, that activates areas of the brain, just like if you were an artist or if you're a musician, or fine arts, like those are areas of the brain that work very differently than the logical thinking areas.
Right.
And so by engaging both sides of the brain and when we're teaching students, then we're actively using their entire brain in order to facilitate the learning process.
I love that. And the practical application too. You can
Correct.
use it for multiple things.
So, they go to college or whatever and they put a hole in the dorm room wall, they can fix it, right? They don't have to stuff toothpaste in it. They can actually fix it correctly.
It sounds like a story you have
Yeah,
a
just a
personal
couple.
connection to. That's awesome. Now, in addition to all the stuff going on with the high school, we also have the debut of the new middle school. It's set for August. Am I correct?
Correct. So we had a huge community turnout, end of April, beginning of May. We actually had 3 different events.
Okay.
The first event was a 2-hour business event and leadership event across the city. We had about 350 people come, which is a pretty big number.
Yeah, that's huge.
Then we held a student, parent, and teacher night, or staff night. And that was on the following Tuesday, and that brought in about 1,600 people. And then the big to-do, which was the formal dedication and everything, took place the following Thursday. We think we had over 3,000 people show up for that event.
Congratulations.
This was huge. It was a team. It was all a team
It always
effort.
is.
There's actually an entire planning team just to plan the opening.
Oh.
But this August, it'll be when the students report to that building for the first time. This summer, our marching band is using the new field because we have so much construction at the high school. We're also going to use Charles Hackley Middle School as the site for Return to Learn this year.
Okay.
Which I think it's going to be on Friday the 23rd from 3 to 5. And then we also are going to have, earlier in August, we're going to have the debut of and the dedication of Bunker, of Marquette, and of Oakview. So those are exciting. They're going to be on the front cover of the
Just a
Mirror
few
coming
things
out.
going on.
Just a couple.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
All those dates will be right on the front cover of the Mirror that's coming out. So,
what has the feedback been from your students? Like, what are they most excited about with this new space?
well, I think it's they see us pushing the envelope of technology and of education. It depends on what grade they're in. My 8th graders are very mad at me because I built the school and now they're going to 9th grade, right? So they're not even getting to be in the school. My 5th graders are just 5th and lower are just excited. We're taking STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, through all of our elementaries and through our middle school, and then into a grant that we won from the federal government to create a 6 through 10 career exploration center on the site of the middle school.
That's
So
great.
we're going to start planning that out and building it. We have about $2 million to get started.
Wow.
And this is going to expose students to all types of careers.
Okay.
Both from trade, from industry. Also, we can do some medical things, So we want to get them as many experiences as we can from the time they enter like pre-K all the way up until 10th grade when they have to make their choice about which academy they want to go into. So like that entire restructuring all the way back. And then each one of those trips that they do each year would tie directly to a career academy and into a career pathway in one of those academies. So
Okay. I see all the building blocks, that you're putting in place, right? So it's not like you have focuses on all the kids. And I love that. It's really a true investment from that early age, which we know is so important all the way through, though. It's that consistency throughout. What are some of the things you're going to be able to do with that $2 million grant then? How are you going to get started with that piece?
So it was a community block grant through the federal government, thanks to Senator Peters' office. What we are doing is we're going to we looked at what the trades are doing, like in their different centers in Fruitport and Wayland and things like that. We've been talking with them probably for about 2 or 3 years, working with Ryan Bennett especially.
Okay.
And we're going to design inside of our labs many experiences for different trades. And then we're also going to be able to hopefully expand into things beyond the trades that would be experiences for kids. The key part of this whole initiative is at night, we want to let the trade unions use it for free to teach adults and have them become apprentices. And then we can start feeding that because when we talk to the trade unions, they do have great training centers. They have a very low representation from Muskegon, and it's usually because travel. And that falls out for the people. So by putting it local and getting them an apprenticeship, what that can get them is a livable wage that can guarantee. So let's say I get an apprenticeship and then I start working for like Chrisman, a construction company.
Sure.
What happens is Chrisman can say, you're a great apprentice and we want you to become a master craftsman. So we're not only going to pay for you to go to school, but we're also going to make sure that, we're paying the school and we're paying you while you're in the school.
That's great.
So it really sets people up for much stronger success.
Absolutely.
One of the things that really led me down this was the bond.
Oh.
There was a part of the middle school that we didn't have anything in the county. We didn't have any talent, any skilled labor in the state.
Okay.
We didn't have any skilled labor in the Midwest. We had to go to New York. And they flew a group of about 8 people out like 6 or 7 times, and they stayed like a week or 2 each time in order to do these different phases of the construction for us, because that was the closest crew.
Wow.
You think about the amount of money that was spent doing all of that, and that could have been here. Yeah. In fact, I'm even going to go farther. That should have been here. But we made a mistake as educators for about 10 or 15 years there where everybody goes to college and it's not realistic. Everybody needs to do what their heart and their passion is.
Yep.
So.
And there's pathways that you're helping create to make sure that you have that livable wage piece. So that way those opportunities truly are for everyone, all of our kids.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter what your experience is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter your sex, gender, race, creed, economic status. It's going to return us to our roots. Because actually, a lot of people don't know this. Charles Hackley formed the Manual Training Center, which was the first training center for career work in the country.
I did not know that.
That was part of a public school.
You really are the history teacher. I'm learning a lot today.
You got to know your history.
Yeah.
And by going back to this, it's not reverting backwards. It's addressing our students where they're at and what we need them to do.
Oh, just excited.
So
I'm sure other people are too. So how do you envision that these changes, especially, this NGL and this building up from pre-K through, 10th grade to create these career pipelines, how do you see that impacting the broader Muskegon community long term? So is it, that we're going to be bringing in more industry or more job? What does that look like, do you think? What's your big vision?
I think like when you look at this, to me, it's just so exciting because it has the potential to have our students part of our businesses, industries, and experience within our district, within the city of Muskegon. I really, I look forward to watching it because our businesses struggle. They struggle to find, the soft skills are one of the largest, things that businesses talk about. Come to work on time, come to school on time.
Oh, yeah.
Show up every day, make sure that you're responsible and ready to work when you get there. And by tying our community businesses in, they're actually going to have the ability of forming that child's work ethic around their business and around the way that they work. And so when the student graduates, we're hoping the businesses can look at them and say, hey, you can come be a part of us. I'm going to pay you this, but then I'm going to pay for this in order for you to get a higher education or to get more skills involved in what you're doing with us. We've already had multiple businesses indicate that they want to do that. Yeah. They are facing the same crisis that we are facing in teaching, which is, the boomers are starting to retire and it is a huge cliff. Yeah. And there is not enough talent to fill that pipeline. Well, when we create a pipeline directly to that talent and directly to those businesses, then people talk about, school to prison pipeline, right? We start on doing that. And by doing that, we're pipelining them into a career. We're pipelining them into a positive lifestyle and a livable wage. I think it is going to have profound effects on our community.
I agree.
I wish that my son's going to be a senior next year.
Uh-huh.
I really would have been liking to have him go through this.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm very excited. I think that this unique offering is going to place us in a leadership role, not just in our county, but also in the state.
Yeah. I think about the investment, too. I mean, this is really investing in the health and wellness, too, of our community. You talk about kids that have these pipelines that start these different things at that age. I mean, it's been proven, there's so much data to back up that they aren't hitting poverty the same way. They don't struggle in some of the same ways. They don't see some of the long-term heart diseases and that, which are hugely affecting people as well. So, we're investing in the whole person.
Correct. And then by investing in one, I was the first generation that went to college.
Yeah.
And I know from when I went to college, because I was the youngest of 8 kids, all my nieces and nephews, it changed their trajectory through their whole life. And that's what this has the capability of doing. When you talk about having livable wage, you talk about healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Now you're talking about how you're dealing with all of that.
Sure.
Our parents are very supportive of this. They are astounded at what we are doing with the bond. You should have seen you were there for some of it.
Yeah.
The reaction on people's faces when they walk through the new middle school, it was like, some of them thought it was like George Jetson, right?
Yeah.
Like so far out of what people imagined that that educational institution is actually a living learning lab. So that's tremendous for us.
Well, and to see the school, the school system's always invested in our kids, but I think to see it, there's something about the perception of seeing it this way that I think is really tangible for people and connects deeply.
Well, and, when we went for the bond, it was May of 2020. We were in the heart of COVID, the very early stages. Everybody else dropped off the ticket.
Yeah.
I was asked if we were going to drop our bonds off the ticket, and I said no. And they said, why? And I said, because we need hope. And you can't let something control you to that point. This will pass. We will conquer COVID. And when we did,
Yep.
now we're ready to take that next step.
Exactly. You're set up for that investment.
Correct. Our community is a huge part. A lot of people don't know this. 66% of each neighborhood said yes to both bonds. That is a huge statistic.
I think that speaks, really volumes to what you have, the belief
Correct.
that our local people have in this type of work and in the school system.
Definitely.
And the change that can be made.
Yes, very
That's
much
great.
so.
Okay, so I've got a final question for you. As we look forward, what other initiatives or programs are on the horizon for Muskegon Public Schools that you might be particularly excited about that align with this vision you have for the district's future?
I just think that it's these core experiences that each of these students are going to have are going to be part of a core experience in our community. And, I've met students that have never seen Lake Michigan.
I know.
I've met students that have never been to Grand Rapids or past Grand Rapids.
Mm-hmm.
We sent, we had a group go to Washington, D.C. this past year, about a year ago. Or no, this past year, sorry. And they came back and reported back to the board. And all 12 of the students that reported back, because it was a group of 12 of them, every one of them reported it changed their life. They didn't realize how much it would affect them in the fact that, you see a new place, you see what happened with our country's founding, you see all these places that everybody always talks about, and you have that general experience in Washington, D.C. And they weren't ready for it. And I think that's a great thing that we're able to do that. We do have to scale that up a little bit if we want to get everybody there.
Yeah.
But even visits to Lansing, stop taking the kids to the apple orchard every year. Stop taking, how many times you got to go to the apple orchard to learn about an apple orchard, right?
Uh-huh.
We want to diversify their experiences and allow students to actually investigate and decide for themselves, what do I want to do?
I love that. You're just broadening all of our young minds.
Hopefully, if it works, when it works.
It
I'll
will
say.
work. I'm completely confident.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming on with us today.
No,
Is there
that's okay.
anything else, you'd want to share or highlight or shout out?
Well, I think it's just, the huge part of this whole thing is the mirror. We have found out that the mirror communicates sometimes even better than our social media sites.
Okay.
It keeps us connected to our entire community. We have changed a little bit of the format of the mirror, and we've gotten a lot of compliments about that. So,
Okay.
If there's things that people want to hear, contact me. We can make sure to highlight some of those things in the mirror, or I can answer any questions or address anything that people have questions about.
Okay. Well, thank you
Thank
for coming.
I appreciate the time and the chance to be able to be here.
Thanks for coming.